Good afternoon, everybody. Elementos is in a different place to the last two presentations that you've seen. We're kind of out of the exploration mode and really into the development cycle. So it's with great pleasure that I can talk to you today. I'm actually the Executive Director. Our CEO is currently in Spain on one of our projects, so I'm sorry, I'm second fiddle. So who are we? We're a company that's focused on tin. We see tin as a critical metal into the future. I think tin is misunderstood as an investment commodity, mostly because there aren't many of us around that are actually developing these projects. Tin is critical as a solder. It's the only material that's now used as solder. There is no substitute for tin except for silver, which makes tin really the only material that's going to be used. So in a world that's becoming more and more focused on electronics and electronic materials and equipment, tin will remain a very, very strong part of the global economy as solder. It's also becoming more important in use as a fire retardant in PVC materials. And there are continually new developments in battery technologies which are using more and more tin. There's actually an interesting development in Israel recently where a scooter manufacturer has produced a tin has produced a scooter that has a tin anode that recharges in 5 minutes. So there's some fascinating new developments in R&D relating to tin. So that's still at the very early stages, but it actually does work. So tin demand has been steadily increasing because of this electronics boom and revolution that we have. Currently we're seeing an interesting ups and downs in the tin price and tin demand, mostly because of the US-China trade war. Last year, generally, tin growth in demand is around 3%. Last year we dropped down to about 2%. We're going to see a minus 3% as the forecast for this year. But once this can sort itself out, or over the next 3-4 years, we see that demand coming back and the tin price to steady. There's also some interesting supply challenges in the tin space. The biggest supplier of tin into the global market is China, and particularly Yunnan province in southwestern China produces 30% of the world's tin, closely followed by Indonesia and Myanmar. But there are considerable supply issues coming out of Myanmar into China, and Chinese smelters are actually starting to slow down or even close production because of their challenges in getting tin concentrate supply. So we don't see any long-term fixes for that. We just see that there's less and less production. So that bodes well for us coming into production in 2 or 3 years. So as you see there, 2018 forecast consumption's growing 380,000 tonnes through to 2022. That chart's slightly misleading because of the y-axis not starting at 0, but really they're seeing about 40,000 tonnes by 2022, which is when our Oropesa project we're targeting to be into production. It's going to come on stream. So really the world is looking for another 40,000 tonnes a year of production, which is over 10% of the current supply. So there is a need for it, and we're hoping to meet that. So why invest in us, or what is Elementos all about? We're really targeting developing our project in Spain called Oropesa, which is one of the most advanced base metals projects in the global market. We are accelerating this development of the project through DFS at the moment, and we're expecting approvals and final design to be next year. We see ourselves as a highly undervalued stock in this market of tin, which we believe is very misunderstood. We've actually got, we're looking at some serious development side on the downstream processing to make tin metal, not just a tin concentrate. And we're also using quite a lot of innovative ideas in the processing side. We're regularly receiving the R&D tax offset from the federal government, which has always helped us. Our tin projects are in Spain. I haven't talked about the one in Australia, which is in Tasmania. So we're in stable jurisdictions. We have a pipeline of projects that are really ready to come on stream very soon. And we have a fantastic team, over 100 years of experience in exploration and development, most focused on actually development of minerals resources. Skilled team in place, a small board but very tight, and a lot of creative conversation at board level on how we're going to proceed. The most important team that we have is actually our Spanish team. We have 9 people on our team in Spain, down in Andalusia province and up in northern Spain working on our engineering and our mine design. Spain is underrated or misunderstood as far as talent in developing mineral resources goes. The team that we have in Spain is as good as you will find here in Australia. Their attention to detail is absolutely fantastic. They meet all codes. Their process design is fantastic. We are very happy to be working very tightly with these guys. So what is Oropesa? Oropesa is based in Andalusia province. It's about 2 hours north of Seville. It's an undeveloped resource. This is a greenfield resource which was discovered about 15 years ago by the Spanish government. They were looking for copper projects and they found Oropesa. We have a mining authority application lodged with the local authorities. The EIS has been submitted and is being worked through at the moment. We've had solid reviews and we're working through a number of adjustments to that to take into consideration some work that wasn't really completed very well. We've recently acquired this project and the EIS was submitted before we acquired it. So key investment features about Oropesa. As I talked before about supply shortfall for tin in 2020. Low sovereign risk. We are part of the European Union. It's a safe investment environment. We believe there are actually quite a number of grants that we can apply for in the European Union that will assist us in our capital to move the project forward. The Andalusian region is really the mining region in Spain. As you drive from Cordoba to site, you'll see 15 to 20 head frames of old mines. The most recent mine that closed was about four years ago, about 5 kilometres from where we are. So there is a mining workforce which is experienced, that they're experienced in safety and they're experienced in getting these projects up and running. Within about a 150 kilometre radius of our site, we have 6 large base metal operations. So it's a known commodity in Andalusia, unlike some other areas in Spain. We have very strong local government support. We're in a community which has significant unemployment, and there is a strong push from this local community to get this project moving forward. We have a large, well-defined JORC resource, 12 million tonnes of measured, indicated and inferred at 0.55% tin. The equivalent grade is about 1.7% copper or about 2.7 grams gold. So if this was another commodity, we might be accelerating this into the development a little bit more than we currently are. So we have full infrastructure in place. We've got roads, there's water, people, power. There is global transport access for concentrate sales. We're talking to local companies in Spain about supplying them with our tin concentrate to make solder. There's strong relationships with these solder groups into the car manufacturing in France, so there's some already existing relationships in place there. It's a simple open-cut mining opportunity and conventional tin processing. So tin occurs as cassiterite and we're processing as a float and gravity and float circuit. 74% recovery of that material is very good for tin. It's about what you want. Tin is invariably difficult to get for more than that, but 62% con is a global standard, so we're happy with what we can produce out of this flow sheet. So DFS, we're partway through our definitive feasibility study. We're looking to finish that middle of next year, so that with the aim of producing just over 3,000 tonnes of tin in concentrate. So just recapping completed activities, we have our exploration licence has been granted. We've done our resource drilling and met test work, environmental studies and transfer of titles have been lodged. Currently, our current activities, we're actually redoing our mine design. Previously, it was viewed as an open pit to underground operation. We're now looking at total full open pit. We've done ore pre-concentration test work that's now been completed. What that means is that we can mine 1 million tonnes, but then we only have 750,000 tonnes that go into the mill. So we can drop off 250,000 tonnes of ore, and we can actually have an upgraded grade of ore going into our mill. So we have better economics. We have a revised EIS that's being done right now, and we're currently drill planning for our DFS. We also have some additional ore body potential extensions that I'll talk about in a minute. So right now, our number one focus is the transfer of title of this particular project to us, to Elementos from the company that we bought it from, and the grant of the environmental permit and authorisations. Following that, we'll end up with the exploitation permit granting and the municipal environmental licence. The Oropesa ore body is fairly simple. It runs southeast to northwest, and it runs down to about 150 metres in depth, and it starts about 20 metres under the surface. It's a fairly straightforward process to mine Oropesa in the way that it's been developed. The exciting thing that we have with Oropesa is when the IP surveys were done, they identified to the north and south, or southwest, northeast. You can see where those blue sections are. That's what we think are additional ore bodies that are lying very, very similarly to the Oropesa resource. If you come out, I'm just outside the door here in the booth on the right-hand side, you can see cross-sections of that ore body, and it's quite interesting to see where the IP anomalies exist. And what we've done is taken all that drilling data that's being generated, we matched that with the IP data, and we extrapolated that into this new areas, and we've come up with an exploration target estimated between 35 to 50 million tonnes. So our current resource is 12 million tonnes. So we're going to start drilling these additional anomalies in a couple of months as we also drill out our DFS, to complete our DFS drilling. Our second project, and it's certainly on a second project at the moment, is Cleveland. Cleveland is in southwestern Tasmania. It was mined up until 1986 when a lot of the tin operations closed down around the world. It's a tin and copper ore body, and at depth we have a tungsten and tin porphyry. So Cleveland is, we've been working on Cleveland for a little while, and we have a plan with Cleveland which is a three-stage plan. The first stage is that we will reprocess some tailings that are on site that are generating a bit of an environmental challenge at the same time as we mine a very small open pit, very high grade open pit resource that's sitting at Cleveland. Once we complete that, we'll be going back underground into the existing mine. We have 4 kilometres of drive already existing at Cleveland. It's quite amazing infrastructure that was developed back in 1968. It was the first trackless mine in Australia. It's a 5x5 decline, and it's an amazing rock. So we have a good opportunity there at Cleveland. And at the very bottom of that existing ore body, and the very bottom of the existing decline, we have this tungsten and tin porphyry, which is currently a 3 million tonne resource, but we have a target of between 60 and 150 million tonnes on the porphyry. Everything at Cleveland is open, long strike and at depth, and we think it's a very interesting project to move forward with. So we'll be starting the DFS and environmental application process at Cleveland, most likely in the new year. So execution strategy is really to become a multi-mine company, producing strong dividends for our shareholders, starting with Oropesa, approvals and development over the next 24 months, into production into 2022, and lagging by about a year, we have Cleveland coming into production in 2023. So just recapping growth and development strategy for Elementos, we have Oropesa, which is our main focus, completing the DFS and revised EIS to produce just over 3,000 tonnes of con, and decision to mine and project finance late next year. It's pretty simple design and construct for Cleveland. It's a small footprint for these tin operations and producing a con. Cleveland, a year behind, starting the DFS and the environmental application process next year, and 2,000 tonnes of tin and about 500 tonnes of copper and concentrate to start with. So we are a fully focused team. We have a strong focus on project execution. My background, I'm a mechanical engineer, ex-Bechtel, Jacobs, Wally Parsons, and we have a number of other team members that have the same project execution capability. So really focused on moving this into production through effective delivery of these projects and getting into production as quickly as we can. So there's additional information at the back. I won't bore you, but please come and see me. I'm just outside the door if you want to have a further conversation. Thank you.